what's this like? Can I have a paper round? Dude, I can't read this.
Oh, I'll get my pick, Keshi. But for now, let's compare your music to some poets. Death is unexpected, yet life is guaranteed. How must the dead feel at this moment? Kenneth Slessor was a journalist/writer who is known for his deep understanding in modernity and Australian literature. Five Bells was written as an elegiac lyric poem for his friend Joe Lynch, who had drowned in the Sydney Harbour in 1927. The piece reflects Slessor's mourning, grief, and frustration, complemented by Joe's vulnerability and ultimate perception of death. Keshi, known as Keshi, released Requiem from his second studio album, also titled Requiem. Released in 2024, Keshi is known for his indie pop style genre, whereas his latest album was more of a reflection on the past, exploring themes of nostalgia in a less melodic way. The song serves as a tribute to a close childhood friend of his that had passed away. So how do these artists convey the same message in different circumstances? Both Slessor and Keshi exaggerate time to intensify the theme of grief. In Five Bells, Slessor uses time as an external force that creates the effect of everlasting grief. Similarly, Requiem expresses Keshi's desperate plea for time to return life. Both texts yearn for what's lost, essentially blaming the flow of time as a coping mechanism. Five Bells uses temporal metaphors such as, "I have lived many lives and this one life of Joe, long dead," emphasizes the discomfort of living in Slessor's false lifetime. Likewise, Keshi responses are very indicative of impatience. In lyrics such as, "Can't you stay? Time always seems to find a way," mirror, "Anchored in time, you have gone from earth," from Five Bells. Slessor and Keshi implement their sorrow into an eternal effect, leading to grief becoming audibly stronger. Guilt intertwines with grief. As seen at the start of Requiem, Keshi says, "I tried not to move, a fight I always lose," resisting the urge to keep up with life, unlike others who are ironically dancing around like nothing changed. Equally, Slessor later builds a metaphorical personification of guilt presented as his friend Joe. "Are you shouting at me, dead man? Squeezing your face?" Guilting himself by projecting a hypothetical Joe to scold him. The physical and mental limitations from these writers strongly convey guilt, ultimately contrasting nothing but temporary emotions that'll pass as what they believe to be an everlasting sorrow. The expression of vulnerability highlights desperation, serving as a plea to a higher power in contrasting portrayals of death. In Requiem, Keshi allows an authentic reaction through that unfiltered outpouring of grief. Alternatively, Five Bells restrains direct emotions, with Slessor utilizing imagery to convey vulnerability. Slessor describes Joe physically incapable of reaction, his mind attempting to groan to God out of desperation, whereas Keshi's mental despair succeeds in physical reactions, such as crying and begging. Ultimately, where Joe is unable to display emotion, let alone a groan, Keshi slowly loses his faith as he weeps. Incidentally, the use of biblical imagery demonstrates the tie between vulnerability and faith. Keshi asks to take someone else instead, not that he listens anyway, losing his faith in God's ability to fulfill his needs. Whereas Joe is groaning to God, it acts as a direct juxtaposition. Joe, unlike Keshi, cannot do anything but attempt to groan to God, overall displaying Keshi's stubbornness and Joe's despair, presenting the contrast of physical and mental vulnerability at an individual's lowest. Yeah, I don't have an acoustic guitar. We're given the opportunity of life, such beautiful creation. To what do we use it for? Judith Wright was an Australian poet, environmentalist, and activist, famous for writing Woman to Man, a lyric poem that emerged in time of need. In the aftermath of World War II, comfort and intimacy became essential to rebuilding the world. With declining populations, people needed comfort, and families needed a new start. Woman to Man details the complex creation of childbirth, but what does the creation witness within its life? Similarly, Just to Die, the second to last track from Requiem, reflects the ultimate acceptance of life. The album is seen exploring themes of life and death, however, Just to Die is the penultimate conclusion to the album's greater message. You keep up with life, you take your chances, at the end of the day, you're born into life just to die. Relationships bring the most frightening and beautiful moments in life. Wright and Keshi emphasize the importance of comfort at different perspectives. Woman to Man demonstrates the intricate beauty in creating life, whereas Just to Die brings us through the struggles of life itself. The third stanza of Just to Die revolves around relationships, a key part of life which consists of just as many frightening and beautiful moments of life itself. It metaphorically implies that it's a natural event in every life to find a lover. All the loners found an owner, like how an owner adopts a pet, taking the utmost care of them. Keshi then suggests, hold them close when the nights get colder, emphasizing the security the significant others bring. This mirrors Woman to Man's fearful connotation when the baby is head-butting into the dark. The mother turns to the father saying, "Oh, hold me," suggesting to hold on to each other as they hold on to life. Additionally, these texts represent comfort by juxtaposing different parts of relationships. Woman to Man depicts a successful relationship at the point of connection where you and I know it well. A mutual understanding is built. Opposingly, Just Today speaks of a failed relationship. Keshi says, "There's so much I wish I told ya," speaking of unbuilt connections. Through their respective texts, both artists portray the belief that comfort builds a deeper connection in a relationship, the peak of intimacy. Life and death are eternally intertwined by the words of these writers. Using temporal metaphors like Kenneth Slessor or fearful connotations like Judith Wright, artists and poets of today, such as Keshi, managed to keep tradition of deeply understood writing. Despite their contemporary approach, these artists continue exploring grief, love, and time through lyrical storytelling. Can I have that Hey Keshi, if you see this, can I have the guitar pick now? Bye.